The HOA complained about my solar panels. Now I run a community grid. The morning Karen pounded on my door, her face twisted like she'd bitten a lemon. I knew my solar panels were in trouble. "Those metal monstrosities are ruining the neighborhood's aesthetic," she bellowed, waving a violation notice like a battle flag. I'd spent months saving for those panels, dreaming of a greener future for my family. But to Karen, they were a personal insult, and she'd stop at nothing to tear them down. She thought she'd won when she sabotaged my system, but she didn't know I'd turn her petty war into a revolution that powered half the block. I'm Ethan, a 34-year-old software engineer living in Pine Crest, a suburban enclave where conformity is king. My wife Sarah and our two kids, Mia and Noah, love our cozy home, but I've always wanted to make it more sustainable. Last year, I installed a state-of-the-art solar array on our roof. Sleek, efficient, and enough to cut our energy bill to pennies. It was my pride and joy, a step toward a cleaner planet. But Pinecrest's HOA, ruled by Karen Whitaker, had other ideas. Karen was the neighborhood's self-proclaimed queen, a 50-something busybody with a penchant for leopard print scarves and a glare that could curdle milk. She patrolled the streets like a hawk, slapping fines on anyone who dared deviate from her vision of suburban perfection. Forgot to mow your lawn? $200 fine. Painted your mailbox blue? Violation. She'd once threatened to tow a neighbor's car for parking too close to a curb. Karen didn't just dislike me. She loathed anyone who challenged her control, and my solar panels were a blazing red flag. The trouble started a week after installation. Karen sent a letter claiming the panels violated HOA Rule 7.2. No exterior modifications without board approval. Never mind that I'd gotten city permits and followed every regulation. I tried reasoning with her at an HOA meeting, explaining the panel's environmental benefits, but she cut me off. "They're an eyesore, Ethan. Remove them, or it's $300 a week." Her cronies nodded like trained parrots, and I realized this wasn't about rules. It was personal. Karen saw my panels as a rebellion, and she hated losing. Then came the shocker. One night, I woke to a loud crash. Heart racing, I ran outside to find my solar inverter smashed, wires dangling like a gutted animal. Someone had taken a crowbar to it, and red spray paint scrawled, "Remove now," across the panels. The kids were terrified. Sarah was furious, and I was livid. The police took a report, but with no witnesses, they couldn't prove it was Karen. Her smug smirk at the next HOA meeting told me everything. She thought she'd scared me into submission, but she'd just lit a fire. I wasn't about to let Karen win. Over beers with my neighbor Raj, a retired electrical engineer, I vented. "She's unstoppable with that HOA rulebook," I said. Raj grinned, adjusting his glasses. "Not if you outsmart her. Ever heard of a microgrid?" He explained that I could turn my solar system into a community grid, sharing power with neighbors and qualifying for a state exemption that overrode HOA rules. It was ambitious, but I was hooked. I'd keep my panels, help my neighbors, and make Karen eat her own rule book. I needed a team. Raj offered to design the grid, while our neighbor Lisa, a lawyer, dug into state energy laws. Other neighbors, fed up with Karen's reign, jumped in. There was Mike, who'd been fined for a non-compliant shed, and Elena, whose tacky garden flags had earned a violation. Together, we'd build something unstoppable, a solar-powered middle finger to Karen's tyranny. The plan was bold, but we dove in headfirst. Raj and I spent weeks repairing the damaged solar system, upgrading it to handle a microgrid. We installed a new inverter, beefier than the last, and ran cables to connect nearby homes. Mike, a contractor, helped to bury the lines discreetly, ensuring Karen couldn't claim they were unsightly. Elena sourced solar-powered lanterns to light up the setup, giving it a warm, eco-friendly glow. Neighbors pitched in with tools, snacks, and moral support, turning my backyard into a bustling workshop. Every wire we laid felt like a step toward freedom, not just from Karen, but from the grid's dirty energy. The legal side was just as critical. Lisa found a state law that classified community microgrids as public utilities, exempt from HOA oversight if they served multiple households. We needed at least 5 neighbors to sign on, so I went door to door, pitching the idea: free solar power in exchange for a small setup fee. To my surprise, people were all in. Mrs. Chen, who'd been fined for excessive rose bushes, signed up first. "Anything to spite that witch," she said, handing me a check. By week's end, we had 8 households, enough to make the grid legit. Lisa filed the paperwork with the state, including a detailed schematic from Raj and testimonials from neighbors. If Karen tried to fight this, she'd be battling the government, not just me. Karen, of course, didn't sit idle. Violation notices piled up like junk mail. Unauthorized electrical modifications, illegal structures, even excessive noise from our work, though we kept it quieter than her yapping chihuahua. One afternoon, she cornered me in my driveway, her leopard print scarf flapping like a warning flag. "You're making a mockery of this community," she hissed, jabbing her clipboard at me. I smiled, calm as ever. "Just wait, Karen. You'll love what's coming." Her eyes narrowed, but I could tell she was rattled. She wasn't used to resistance. The kids were my biggest motivation. Mia and Noah had been shaken by the vandalism, afraid to play outside. I wanted them to see that standing up to bullies didn't mean stooping to their level. Sarah and I explained the project over dinner, and their eyes lit up. "So we're sharing power with everyone?" Noah asked. "Like superheroes?" I laughed. "Exactly." That night, Mia drew a picture of our house with solar panels beaming light to the whole block. It became our rallying cry. We timed the grid's launch for the annual Pinecrest Block Party, Karen's favorite stage for strutting her authority. Raj suggested we make it a solar celebration, complete with a live demo of the grid powering neighbors' homes. Elena organized food trucks, Mike set up a stage, and I printed flyers announcing Pinecrest's first community solar grid. We didn't invite Karen, but her nosy nature guaranteed she'd show. The morning of the event, we tested the system. My panels fed power to 8 homes, with a meter showing real-time output. It worked flawlessly. I felt a surge of pride. This wasn't just revenge, it was progress. The block party was electric. Neighbors gathered around my house, marveling as solar-powered lights flicked on. Raj explained the grid's mechanics, while Lisa handed out "Powered by Ethan" stickers. Sarah and the kids led a cheer as I flipped a ceremonial switch, officially launching the grid. The crowd roared, and I spotted tears in Mrs. Chen's eyes. She hadn't paid an energy bill in days. Then, like a storm cloud, Karen appeared, shoving through the crowd, her face a mask of fury. "This is illegal, illegal!" she screeched, waving a violation notice. I stepped forward, holding up the state's approval letter. "It's a public utility now, Karen. Your rules don't apply." The crowd went wild, chanting "solar power" as Karen's clipboard trembled in her hands. She'd lost, and everyone knew it. Karen's public meltdown was just the beginning. The block party raged on, with neighbors toasting to clean energy and swapping stories of Karen's petty fines. Kids ran around wearing "Powered by Ethan" stickers, and the solar grid hummed quietly, powering lights, music, and even a food truck's fridge. I looked at Sarah, her smile brighter than the panels, and felt a weight lift. We hadn't just saved our system, we'd built something bigger, something that mattered. The HOA board couldn't ignore the fallout. Karen's outburst, caught on a neighbor's phone, went viral on the Pinecrest Facebook group, racking up hundreds of laughing emojis. Lisa, armed with a dossier of Karen's abuses, fines for unapproved bird feeders, threats over tacky lawn chairs, presented a motion to oust her. The board, desperate to save face, voted unanimously. Karen was gone within days, her gavel passed to Raj, who vowed to prioritize community over control. Rumor had it Karen tried to sell her house, but the "for sale" sign mysteriously gained a sticker. "Powered by pettiness." No one claimed credit, but Mike's smirk said plenty. The grid grew beyond my wildest dreams. More neighbors joined, and we expanded to 15 households, slashing energy bills and cutting carbon emissions. Mrs. Chen started a community garden powered by our surplus, and Elena hosted solar workshops for kids, teaching them about renewables. Mia and Noah, inspired by the project, made a lemonade stand to raise funds for more panels, proudly calling it Solar Squeeze. I watched them, heart full, knowing they'd learned what honor looked like. Not revenge, but building something good in the face of cruelty. Karen's sabotage had meant to break us, but it did the opposite. Her arrogance, her snap judgments about me as some eco-freak troublemaker, only exposed her own flaws. I didn't need to stoop to her level, keying her car or egging her house. Instead, I fought with innovation, with neighbors who became friends, with a vision for a better future. That was the real victory, showing her that kindness and grit could outshine her clipboard-wielding tyranny. The grid's success drew local news coverage, and Pinecrest became a model for community solar projects. At a city council meeting, they honored our group, and I gave credit to everyone who'd helped. Raj's genius, Lisa's legal savvy, Mike's muscle, Elena's heart. Most of all, I thank Sarah and the kids, my reason for fighting. As we stood together, I realized Karen's war had forged a community that no HOA could control. Now, when I look at my roof, those panels aren't just metal and glass. They're a testament to what happens when you stand up, not just for yourself, but for others. Karen's probably out there somewhere, terrorizing a new neighborhood. But here in Pinecrest, we're powered by something she'll never understand. Unity. And every time a neighbor flips a switch, they're flipping her off too. The end.